Centrophenoxine helps to boost cognition and memory, and it has significant anti-aging benefits, preventing and reversing neuronal decay. It's one of the original nootropics, and it was developed in France as an altered version of the molecule DMAE. DMAE is an amine, and it's naturally produced in small amounts in the brain. Researchers speculate that the DMAE can increase acetylcholine levels by inhibiting choline metabolism in the peripheral tissues. By preventing the use of the choline by other tissues, including the synthesis into acetylcholine, the DMAE increases the choline level in the bloodstream. But DMAE on its own doesn't easily cross the blood-brain barrier, so combining DMAE with PCPA to make the centrophenoxine seems to help to improve its bioavailability. PCPA is a synthetic version of auxins, or plant growth hormones. Auxins act like natural growth factors in plants. Once digested, the centrophenoxine breaks down into the DMAE and the PCPA in the liver. This combination was found to make the DMAE more bioavailable in the body, and it helps the DMAE to cross the blood-brain barrier more readily. Centrophenoxine seems to temporarily boost the acetylcholine in the brain, and this could have an effect on cognitive performance and on memory. Centrophenoxine reduces lipofuscin in the brain. This is a cellular waste product, and it accumulates in the cells as we age. It's the same product that causes brown liver spots on the skin. The centrophenoxine eliminates nearly half of the accumulation of the brain lipofuscin in just 8 weeks. Centrophenoxine improves the cerebral blood flow and oxygen in the brain. It's one of the original nootropics, and it's backed by 50 years of research. It's sold as a prescription drug called Lucidril in some parts of the world. In other countries, like the USA, it's sold as an over-the-counter supplement. DMAE seems to increase the choline levels by preventing the uptake of choline in peripheral tissues in the body. Since choline is the precursor to acetylcholine, more choline in the brain can raise the acetylcholine level. The PCPA is a synthesized version of a plant growth hormone. The combination helps the DMAE to cross the blood-brain barrier more easily than just supplementing with DMAE alone. Centrophenoxine can be a good addition to a nootropic stack. It'll increase your brain's energy levels by boosting the oxygen flow. It helps to flush out dangerous free radicals and cellular waste, and it can improve memory and cognition. DMAE is used to make the centrophenoxine. It's found in small amounts in your brain. A good food source of DMAE is fish, but there's little evidence that the DMAE as a supplement can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, and if it provides the brain with enough choline needed to make the acetylcholine. The centrophenoxine, on the other hand, seems to solve the blood-brain barrier problem. Centrophenoxine helps to improve memory. It does this by boosting the enzyme acetylcholinesterase in the brain. This is the enzyme that's needed for breaking down the acetylcholine once it's done its job in the postsynaptic neuron. The choline is then liberated to be taken up by the presynaptic neuron, where the acetylcholine is once again synthesized with the help of acetyl-CoA and choline acetyltransferase. Researchers set out to prove this in a clinical trial using lab rats. In the study, they compared centrophenoxine with DMAE, and they determined that DMAE was about half as potent as the centrophenoxine in boosting choline and acetylcholine levels. Centrophenoxine takes out the cellular trash. Lipofuscin is more commonly known as age pigments. It can show up as age spots or liver spots on the aging skin, and it hides in cells throughout the body, including the brain, the liver, the kidney, the heart, the adrenals, and the nerve cells. Lipofuscin is the product of oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids. It also contains other cellular heavy metal waste like mercury and aluminium. The centrophenoxine removes the brain cell waste and the lipofuscin. The buildup of this toxic mess is caused by a breakdown of your normal cellular waste disposal function. Centrophenoxine helps to remove the lipofuscin from the brain cells and from the cells throughout the body. The beneficial effects of the centrophenoxine were observed in several lab studies on older animals. Administration to these animals significantly increased lifespan, and it boosted learning ability compared to age-matched controls. As we get older, our brain chemistry and our energy metabolism changes. Brain cell membranes degenerate from toxic buildup. Memory, recall, reaction time, and mood diminish. Acetylcholine levels decline. All of these age-related changes are contributing factors to neurodegenerative diseases of aging, including Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Centrophenoxine is one of the oldest and the most studied nootropics available today. It was developed in France in 1959, primarily in the search for centrophenoxine to combat age-related cognitive decline. Centrophenoxine is a combination of the PCPA and the DMAE, and studies show that DMAE can boost the acetylcholine levels in the brain by preventing choline uptake in the peripheral system in the body. Thus providing more choline would then be used to synthesize acetylcholine. But there's very little evidence that it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and the PCPA seems to solve this transport problem. Centrophenoxine is water-soluble, and it quickly enters the brain after you take it. Once in the brain, it boosts the signal transmission and it protects the neurons. It gets to work right away by temporarily boosting acetylcholinesterase in parts of the brain. This enzyme is needed for the synthesis of acetylcholine, and it gets busy clearing the cells of the free radicals and the lipofuscin. Centrophenoxine offers a gentle brain energy boost when you first take it in the morning. You're able to remember things a little easier. Recall seems to be easier and more effortless. Some users report that centrophenoxine works well when it's taken with aniracetam, Noopept, and paracetam. It may work in part by providing some extra acetylcholine to the racetams. And if you dose half in the morning and the other half in the early afternoon, you should feel a brain energy boost throughout the day. A prescription form of DMAE was called Dianol, and it was used in the 60s and the 70s to treat learning and behaviour problems in children, what's now known as ADHD. A 3-month double-blind placebo-controlled trial involving 74 children was conducted in 1975. They were split into groups and they were given 40 milligrams of Ritalin or 500 milligrams of DMAE. Positive results from the trial showed that DMAE was comparable to Ritalin in effectiveness for controlling the ADHD. Centrophenoxine is not only an effective cognitive booster, it helps to reverse the effects of aging in the brain. Much of the brain cell membrane is made of phospholipids, or fat, and it's oxidized as we age. In other words, free radicals build up, and they're not removed from the cells efficiently the older that we get. Aging brain cells also get clogged up with lipofuscin. This is the product of oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids. It also contains other cellular heavy metal waste like mercury and aluminium. Studies have shown that centrophenoxine helps to flush out the free radicals and the lipofuscin from the brain cells, and when used by younger people, it helps the cellular waste from building up in the first place. Researchers in Hungary conducted a double-blind clinical trial with 50 people who were suffering from dementia, an average age of 77 years. They gave one group 2 grams of centrophenoxine for 8 weeks. They found the centrophenoxine rehydrated the intracellular mass, proving that the compound was a powerful free radical scavenger. It removed the free radicals from the aging brain cells, and it restored them to a healthy state. In another study in India, researchers worked with male Worcester rats aged 4, 8, 16 and 24 months. They used these ages because they correlate with human aging from young to elderly. Just like in humans, lipid oxidation and lipofuscin concentration increased with age. The experiment also showed that cellular free radical damage and lipofuscin buildup happened at the same time. This buildup of cellular waste contributes to age-related decline in neuronal electrical activity, or neural signaling. Cognition, memory and learning are all affected. The research team found the centrophenoxine had no effect on the younger rats' brains, but in the two older age groups they saw a significant decrease in lipid oxidation and lipofuscin concentration, showing conclusively the anti-aging effect of the centrophenoxine. Centrophenoxine boosts neuronal glucose and oxygen uptake in the brain, and it helps the production of RNA and protein. RNA is derived from DNA in the cell nucleus, and it enables neurons to form proteins, which help to encode memory and to repair damage to brain cells. In one double-blind clinical trial, researchers worked with 50 people who were suffering from dementias of a medium level. They gave the group 2 grams of centrophenoxine, or placebo, for 8 weeks. 48% of the group that received the centrophenoxine showed improvements in memory. Another study was made on the effects of centrophenoxine on learning and memory on old mice. One group of mice was treated for 3 months, and the other group received a placebo. The treated animals showed a significant improvement in memory and learning. Centrophenoxine dose is typically 500 mg to 1 gram per day. If you're taking it with a racetam, split your dose, so 1 gram would be 500 mg first thing in the morning and the other half in the early afternoon. Centrophenoxine seems to help to increase choline and acetylcholinesterase in the brain, and this is needed for the synthesis of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Keep in mind centrophenoxine and DMAE are related to choline. They're not the same as choline. Centrophenoxine should not replace a regular choline source like alpha-GPC or CDP-choline, but centrophenoxine can be stacked with a choline source. Some users take centrophenoxine as a choline source to include in their racetam stack, or they use it as a nootropic on its own. Some research shows that it robs choline from the muscles and sends it to the brain, and this has been implicated in a choline deficiency in pregnant women, leading to birth defects. For this reason, you should be sure to also take a choline source with the centrophenoxine, to take regular breaks to not deplete the choline levels in your muscles, and avoid if pregnant. Centrophenoxine has been used as a nootropic for nearly 50 years, so its safety is well established. It's non-toxic and it should be well tolerated by most users. Some reported side effects include stomach upset, body odor, drowsiness, confusion, increased blood pressure, moderate depression and irritability. If you deal with epilepsy or bipolar disorder, you should avoid centrophenoxine. Cycling centrophenoxine 5 days on with a 2-day break should eliminate any acetylcholine toxicity, or else use a low dose. More is not always better. In some countries, centrophenoxine is prescribed as Lucidril for the treatment of Alzheimer's or age-related cognitive decline. Studies show the centrophenoxine helps to stop or to reverse brain degeneration by clearing out free radicals and lipofuscin from the brain cells, making centrophenoxine one of the primary anti-aging nootropics. Centrophenoxine also boosts available choline, and a few studies show that it can at least temporarily increase acetylcholinesterase, the enzyme that's needed for the synthesis of acetylcholine, which would boost cognition, memory, recall, and learning. It's not recommended to take centrophenoxine as your primary source of choline. You've much better options of acetylcholine precursors like alpha-GPC and CDP-choline. A starting dose of 500 mg is suggested, possibly twice per day, once first thing in the morning, once at lunchtime, possibly more depending on the racetam use. Age-related cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's may want doses of up to 2000 mg per day for 8 weeks. For more information about nootropics, herbs, supplements, and natural treatments, check out my website.